Hello, welcome everybody to HutchCast Live. I'm your host, Zach Hutchins, aka the Gaming Hutch. Joining me this week is Timmy, Sneaky P, Hayes,
Nice.
and Jace, the Ayatollah of the Control of Baldridge.
Baby.
How are y'all doing this week?
Pretty good.
Good. It was a fast week.
Yeah,
Was.
my
I
gosh.
can't believe it's been a week since the great debate of showering 2016.
Yeah, it has been. Oh my gosh, this week went by so fast. This is already episode 9 of HutchCast Live. We're almost to our 10th episode. That's crazy.
Double digits.
It's went so fast already. Well, we have a lot to talk about this week. There's some interesting news released at GDC, so we're going to definitely talk about virtual reality. That is hot topic button issue. Everybody wants to know about it, talk about it. I want to know if you guys are thinking about picking one up now. Price point, release dates given out. So that's all pretty cool. We're going to talk about that. I watched some anime this week. I definitely want to talk about anime. And Jace has a pressing question that involves all gamers that I think it's worth talking about.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting, right? Well, actually, Jace, we're going to let you kind of kick the show off this week. Let's just get it going. And
shit.
You posed a question this week that was... It's interesting. It's worth talking about for all of us. So how about you kind of take over and get the show going?
Last week on the show, we talked about genres and how they're all, mixed up and whatnot. And then we got into a debate on Division about what made it fun and what not.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that we have different priorities when it comes to video games. And, there's many gamers out there. And, everyone has their own criteria. So my question was to get to know you guys a little bit better so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. I was wondering when you think of a game or you're like not rating it, but, putting your opinion into it, like what parts of a game are most important to you? Like, sometimes you see some of the ratings in magazines or whatnot, and it's like sound, you get this, music is this, story is this, gameplay is this, whatever. My mind always defaults to that like breakdown, and they're depending on the game and the genre, it skews. Like some stories more important, some not. But I just want to get a feel from you guys about like what elements in a video game are most important to you.
Interesting.
It's a good question. It's a good question. It's a big one.
What's the first thing that comes to your head, Tim?
It depends what I'm getting the game for. For example, I knew ahead of time that I was going to be getting the Division to play with Zach, Alex, Day, all those guys. So that alone was important enough for me to get the game, as far as if enough people I know are going to play it and I have enough people to play with, I kind of forego other things, if that makes any sense. So, even if it got fairly poor reviews, just the pull of my friends playing it would bring me in. But if I'm playing by myself and I'm buying a game just for single player, for me it's all about the story, as far as, is this a game I want to spend my money on, and I can get lost in whatever world they've created, kind of a thing. And so I look for that first and foremost. Mechanics, that really doesn't sell me alone. For example, like Mass Effect 1, the mechanics were pretty terrible, like the combat, but the story kept me going, and I love that game. It was awesome.
I love that example. Mass Effect 1 is such a great example of how that series is revered. But if you look at the gameplay of Mass Effect 1, oh man, is it blocky, it's clunky, the cover system's awful, the shooting is not very good. But like the story of that game is so amazing that it drives it forward. And it drove it forward enough to where they improved the gameplay mechanics in the future. And like Mass Effect 3 is a very competent game, gameplay-wise, in my opinion. But in comparison to 1, one is garbage in comparison, but that story is just awesome.
Right.
I never even really noticed the big difference in it.
Like mechanics wise?
Yeah, like
Oh, it's
a
bad.
few summers ago, I played. My intent was it was right after 3 came out. It was the summer after 3 came out, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna start over, and I'm gonna go from 1 all the way through. And I went 1, 2, and I got maybe 2 hours into 3, and I stopped.
Oh
Not
wow.
cause, not because I didn't like it, but just because I was kind of burnt out on it, and I want to say something came up to where I didn't play it immediately. So then I had the space, and it just didn't immediately grab me. But what I was talking about, I don't notice that much. The biggest difference between 1 and 2, in my mind, is just there's no rover driving around the planet in 2.
Ugh.
That's like it. The rest of it's like whatever.
It's a huge gameplay mechanic, though. I mean, and everybody hated that about 1. Wasted so much time
Yeah.
Which
wandering around
I,
random
I
planets.
was I was so worried about it when I replayed it, and it wasn't even that bad. It's not fun, that's for sure, but it wasn't as bad as I remembered it being. I
Sure.
was like, all right, whatever.
You can make it fun, jumping around and being stupid while you explore planets. You can make it kind of fun.
But yeah,
Um,
as far as the topic though, like I stated last week, gameplay for me is king. Gameplay is the most. In most cases, gameplay is the thing that drives it. And like I said last week, I can play a game that has great gameplay and a terrible story, but I can't play a game that has a great story and terrible gameplay. If there's no gameplay, the game is just not going to do it.
that's interesting. I'm going to counter you on this a little bit. Before I do, though, I want to shout out to some chat. Alyssa says audio, sound effects slash ambient sound for sure. Uh, and I know Alyssa, and what's funny about her, she's an audio engineer. She went to college for that. Audio is the most important thing for her always. So I'm not surprised that she's going to talk about sound and sound design and music when it comes to her favorite part. And then Magical Hamster says, I like games that engage slash inspire my creativity. And I love that answer too, because I think of a game that's come out recently that if you look at it on the surface, it doesn't look like a deep game, but it's Undertale. And it's a beautiful little RPG with, I mean, the mechanics of that game are solid enough. I mean, they're boring at the end of the day.
I like its fighting system.
Yeah, there's
It's
only
fun. It's
there's only a
different.
couple buttons. The fighting system's interesting, but it's not complicated, and it's just a beautiful little game. And I feel like if there's a
Well,
game that it has inspired me, like that's an inspiring little game.
I was gonna say on the surface that combat's not
Not
the
deep,
actual
yeah,
combat, but it has that whole element of, do I attack?
yeah,
Do I just let them attack me?
yeah.
How long do I need them to attack me before something happens? Like, there's different levels to that combat. That combat's deep.
It totally is. I'm not disagreeing with you, but on the surface level, people would not necessarily think it is.
No,
And
yeah, just
and
like
it's also, I think, though, it's little games like that are what can absolutely engage someone and inspire somebody. It's a game like Journey, where the first time people play Journey, it really does engage with a lot of people. Now, what's funny,
Put
Jace,
'em
you
to
do
sleep.
that.
That's
I-
some good mechanics.
What's funny though is I actually felt the same way about Journey. I've only ever played it once. I was kind of let down too, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't. It for a lot of people, it sparked a lot of that There was a lot of inspiration, a lot of creativity behind that, and it made people talk. It's a lot of these walking simulator type games that all do this same type of thing. So
see that's sad because those are like stories that I kind of I want to see, but I'm like I can't do it. Like everybody's gone to the Rapture that came out last
Yeah.
year. I was like, sweet, I'm gonna get this. Oh my god, so fucking boring.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, it's so boring.
When you start unraveling the story, though, is it interesting at all?
No.
Okay.
well, and it's
Like I said, I think I was just so bored in the mechanics and the gameplay of it. Maybe I just didn't like every minute that went by, my interest in it was dropping. So whenever story stuff actually came up, like what may have caught somebody else's attention, I was just like, okay, can I run yet? Can I move faster than not even a brisk walk? It's like it's as if you imagine like a 90-year-old man who just began to walk after 60 years of being a handicap, finally being able to walk. That's how fast that game
get out there and
moves.
enjoy life. You
That's how
93-year-old.
fast that game. Oh my god.
All right.
Wow. Yeah, okay. I was thinking
Well,
about picking that game up, so maybe I'll
interesting.
Redbox at Jace.
Well,
I think it's just digital only.
let's
Yeah.
to bring it full circle and talk about those walking simulators. A big reason why I don't play a lot of them too is because of what Jace is talking about and about gameplay. Because there's not a whole lot there. I haven't actually played Gone Home. I've had it on my PC forever.
Dude, that's definitely one.
And like I've had it on my computer forever, and I know I want to sit down and invest in that story and spend 4 hours the first time just sitting through and making sure that I see everything and just in like a game like Firewatch that has been kind of a hot topic lately, mainly because it's trying to do what Gone Home did, but most people really disliked what happened.
If that's a branch off of what Gone Home is, I never want to play Gone Home. Like my desire to play that's gone.
Gone Home and Firewatch are very similar. Where
you play Firewatch, Chase?
I watched Firewatch for an hour because one thing that bothers me, which this is a little off subject, which this will come up a million times when we talk about video games from here on out, is hype trains that people do and what they get excited for. I don't understand it.
Fucking
this may be a topic for next week.
Oh, totally.
But they showed that video last E3 for Firewatch, and they didn't even show they didn't show shit. And people are like, this looks awesome. It's going to be awesome. Look at it. It looks like such a great game. I'm like, based on what? They showed nothing. So the closer it got,
they showed design. They liked the way that the art was. That was the hype.
But that doesn't mean the game is awesome.
Exactly.
But again,
exactly.
That's a whole nother thing. But anyway, getting back to Firewatch, subject. The closer it was getting, people were getting more and more hype for it. And I was like, I still haven't seen anything for this. What is it? So I went in and I watched an hour. It was 2 videos, an hour's worth of gameplay. And I was like, I don't get it. It's boring. The most mechanic that the game had was picking up cans, and then you could throw them.
Well, you know that's what Gone Home is too, right?
And then finding a rope. Well, like I said, that's why I haven't played Gone Home yet. Mm-hmm. Is because I'm scared that's what it's going to be.
But that is what it is.
What it is, then yeah, I'm probably never going to play.
You're exploring a house and you're learning about the occupants there by reading documents. You pick stuff up and you read it, and you're learning the story of what's happening. I mean, it is a walking simulator through and through. So gameplay-wise, games like that now, which have there's a lot of emotional resonance that are happening within these games. People are having emotional responses to these things, but there is no gameplay there whatsoever.
Which
the gameplay is non-existent.
On my spectrum, if there's no gameplay, but there's story, it just does not connect in here.
But what about... So I want to talk to you then about one of our favorite games. It's actually probably one of the reasons we became friends, is Final Fantasy VII. And look at the gameplay in Final Fantasy VII.
I think it's fun.
So do I. It's actually, in my opinion, the 2 best Final Fantasy battle systems are 6 and 7. And just because of the way the magic system is actually dealt with. But 7, at the end of the day, is not really that deep of a system. Materia combinations, you can make an argument for that it's deep gameplay, but the fact that all of those characters are essentially very similar, you can really play the game with any mixture of a party. Nobody really is. This is a mage. Eris is the closest thing to what you have as a mage, and spoiler alert for whatever, she dies, and it's
Cloud is my mage. He's my white mage.
So he's
my white knight.
Anybody can play you can play it any way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of what's funny about that game, is you can make any character specific. And I know you were holding up your fingers for Final Fantasy X, but at least at the beginning of the game, they really horseshoe you into everybody playing their specific role until you finish out their tree, and then you can branch out into other
I just
ones.
meant I really like theirs because I like the seeing what's coming up 10 moves from now.
Sure, that's a cool mechanic. I'm
Mm.
saying Final Fantasy VII's mechanics are really not that deep at the end of the day. It's RPG 101. It's like Pokemon, which is RPG for babies. Babies first RPG. Because Pokemon is simple. And
But so good.
yes, but so good. And that's the reason though. So the mechanics aren't necessarily great. And the story isn't necessarily even great in Pokemon. So what makes Pokemon a great game?
It's fun. It's fun to play.
Exactly, but it's not that the gameplay is great. It's not that the story is great.
It just has to be right. It has to be good.
Yeah, I guess that's
I love the Pokemon controls.
It's the way I guess you have to look at it. It's the way you have to look at the gameplay. Does the gameplay fit the game you're playing? It's like you kind of talk about the genres that we talked about genre a little bit last week. Does the JRPG mechanic fit for the game that we're playing at the moment? Like, is it a Final Fantasy game? Does it feel like it? The reason I hate Final Fantasy 13 is not because of the story. I thought the story was fine. I thought it was something you could follow. I liked some of the emotional moments. Even I actually liked Hope the first time I played through the game. I know everybody hates him, but I didn't mind him the first time.
I hated him.
And so that game wasn't terrible for me because of the story whatsoever. I actually didn't even care that it was hallways and very corridor-like. I hated it because the battle system to me is fucking awful. And I know you love it, Jace, but I hate it.
No.
I
I'm not
hate it.
I love it, but I enjoyed it very, very much.
I didn't, because I felt like the only thing I was actually doing was hitting auto battle the whole time and then paradigm shifting. And that's all it was. So that game was ruined by gameplay for me. 13 was not ruined because of story. It was ruined because of gameplay. So there's absolutely games that can be ruined because I didn't feel like that gameplay fit the genre that it was in. That's not the game that you're supposed to be playing when you play Final Fantasy.
Are you worried about 15?
Yes and no. I mean, we've talked about 15 at length. 15 is probably it's the game I'm most excited for. I think that this latest trailer made it look like they've done enough different since the demo that I feel like the game is going to play a little snappier, a little faster. I'm very excited for Final Fantasy 15. They've also talked about how you can turn the battle mode into 2 different versions, how there's going to be an action mode and then there's going to be like a classic mode. So I'm wondering how that will work too. So I think there's a lot more to learn about that.
All right, we discussed a little bit. Let's do a little mini game here.
Okay.
Right. Let's throw out different components that make up a video game, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank them.
Okay.
Real quick, we'll just do what there's gameplay,
Story, sound design,
art design.
Does that include music or just ambient?
Sound design, I feel, is different than music.
Music, like soundtrack, music / OC.
Yeah.
Or OS.
Yeah. And then it's graphics /
graphics. I always forget graphics. That's so little talked about these days.
Well, I think it's because people are finally moving past it. I think we've reached the point where you have amazingly brilliant just games that are just so gorgeous you can't believe, like the Order 1886 is just, God, it's the most gorgeous game I've ever seen. But I don't think that's not what everybody cares about anymore.
With graphics, though, we're going to clump in visuals. Graphics, visuals.
Go ahead and clump it in there.
Because graphics,
yeah.
So, because some of them, it may be because the visual is the high definition graphics, or how it, the pixel art, which is exactly graphical.
And because in there you have to lump in like UI design also. You have to talk about like menus. Like I feel like that matters in a game. How do menus work? If it's an RPG, what does your main menu look like? The Witcher's menus when that game first came out were a fucking mess, and it took updates to make that menu system any good.
We'll say menus and mechanics.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we have 6 categories: gameplay, story, sound design, music / OS, graphics / visuals, and menus. Mechanics. So take like a minute and rank them.
Say menus and mechanics are in the same?
Well, menu. I'm trying to differentiate it in my head.
I think mechanics would be with gameplay.
Yeah. Mechanics, gameplay.
But mechanics are things you can do in the game.
So there's
Gameplay is
graphics
how
there
it
because there's
plays.
graphics, but
Those are
then
two
there's
different
design.
things.
There has to be a difference.
What?
Okay, so let's talk about soundtrack, sound design.
All right, we'll say gameplay mechanics and then menu mechanics. But yeah, I'm gonna answer while we do this. I'm gonna answer your Final Fantasy one. I did say, like when I text you, different genres, different game types are different.
You have to rank
You know,
them different. You have to look
different
at them
rankings,
different.
exactly. Because, like I said, story is not necessarily the highest on my thing. It's still in, and I enjoy a good story, but I have to be able to play the game for the story to catch me. So some of them are more dependent on others, and some of them are more independent, like gameplay, to me.
So do you have 6 things or 7 things?
I only have 6 things on this list.
Okay, so I have original soundtrack, sound design, graphics, gameplay mechanics, menu design / UI, and story.
And yeah.
Yeah. So if you had to rank those.
Yes.
Okay.
Just like broad general, like these are the most things I look at, not necessarily, well, this is what is for Final Fantasy, which is my favorite game, or this is for whatever. It's that.
So doing
like,
it on overarching scale, if you were to look at video games on a whole, you can't there's no stop thinking outside the box of well, if you would apply to this. If this is what's most important in games to you. So if you want, I feel like I can go first right away.
All right, go for it.
And I feel like I can plow through some of this. Okay. The first thing I feel that is most important to me, and it's what connects me to the game, has to be story. I have to put story first. Okay. So if you look at the history of what I talk about genres, story is most important, mainly because I love JRPGs the most. All right. So after that, I'm probably going to go to mechanics, gameplay, because like Jay says, you can argue gameplay is king. For the most part, if a game plays badly, it's not going to be fun. I'm not going to be able to choke through it. There's been plenty of RPGs that I've been interested in the story that I quit because I don't like the way it plays. The first Star Ocean, the second story for PS1, is a game that everybody loves. It's this RPG, very deep. I hate the way that game plays. I've never finished it. I've owned it forever. I've never finished it. Okay. After that, I'm going to go with oh god. I'm going to go with graphics next. I'm going to put graphics right in the middle. Now, because graphics covers a lot of things, graphics can be if your 8-bit design is amazing for you, like Undertale's design and graphics perfectly fit.
Visuals.
Right, that's what it perfectly fits what that game is. So I think that the visual design, the graphical design of the game really does matter. It can coexist with story a lot of the time, too, because the graphical design of your game better fit the type of story that you're trying to tell. After that, I think that I'm going to go with menu design and UI interactment, mainly because the game still needs to feel it needs to feel well, and it needs to move from moment to moment well, and that's what menus do. After that, I'm going to go with the sound design, actual things like running footsteps. Are they going to get annoying over the course of a game? Like if you play a lot of a JRPG and you have to grind and you run around, is something like that can actually affect you later. So that design has to be done well, or it will drive you insane, especially for games you play a long time. And then I'm going to do soundtrack at the very end, not because I don't love games. I feel like sound can affect a game a lot. I just don't feel like most of the time the sound design and the music is underwhelming for most games. Like, I couldn't think of a single thing from The Division that is like a sound element of that game that makes me separate it from any other game. It's just generic. The sound design is very generic to me. The music is not very inspiring.
That's funny because I haven't even noticed like feet in snow
Yeah, it doesn't
or
matter because
feet on concrete, and that's weird because those are like some of my favorite things.
yeah, and none of those things to me draw attention to themselves, which is good. That they're kind of in the background, but it's also not good because you don't notice them for being special.
There is one sound element that I really like about it, although it seems like it may be in my head, it may be died down in the regular game than it was from the demo. That is the sound of the backpack when you're running, and
Yep.
like all of your guns like rummaging against each other. I love that sound. I don't really know why,
Sure.
but I love that sound. And I just feel like from the beta to the main game, it got dumbed down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the weapons sound like pretty spot on, especially for the different types.
They do, but like I said, I don't feel
It's not
like
blowing your socks off.
it's not anything that's special. How does it sound different than any Call of Duty or Battlefield? Like,
All right.
nothing separates it. So that was mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not get into a division thing.
Nope.
This topic has already gone a little longer than I thought.
All right, well then I'll blow through mine.
Go for it.
Zach, I was pretty close to start with you. So my first one was story, just because it could be like the best playing game in the world, but if it doesn't have a story, I'm just not going to be interested to keep going. So then I wouldn't play. So for me, story's number one. Number two would be the gameplay mechanics, just because, we're not talking about game-breaking bugs here. So I mean, of course, if it's got gameplay mechanics to where it's not playable because you're constantly going through the floor or whatever, that's not lumped in here, because then of course that would have to be number one. But yeah, it's like kind of tying in with my Mass Effect 1. Like, it's gotta it'd be so much easier to love that game that much more if it like played that much better. But that's why story took number one. Number three would be graphics, so like game design. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to be like, oh, it's got it's the best looking game out there, I got to buy it immediately. And like you're saying, like a lot of games, they kind of tailor it to, hey, this is the design we want for this game, whether it's like 8-bit or photorealistic, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Four for me was sound design. I think that can't think of any off the top of my head, but some games have some fairly broken sound design where it's just like, not really bringing you into that world. So 5 would be soundtrack to kind of complement that. And menuing for me is number 6. I know it's important, and I know that we've all dealt with some god-awful menuing. Fallout 4, that fucking Pip-Boy, it's like, please, I don't want to go through all, like, every time you just bring it up, and you have to scroll.
That's The Witcher 3 to me. The Witcher 3 menuing was fucking awful.
You can sort your Pip-Boy.
I know, but it's like,
I'm with you though.
If it doesn't come like that, and you kind of have to like tailor it,
yeah.
And it sucks, but it's not game breaking for me. So that's kind of like at the end, because you might be in the menu quite a bit, but I don't think you're in there enough to where the other things take a back seat to it.
I got to interject for 2 seconds, Tim, and then I'll let you keep going.
I'm done.
There's menuing that can break versions of games, because I love the game Chrono Trigger. I do not have a cartridge. I don't want to afford to pay for a cart on Super Nintendo. I have the PS1 version of it, but that game is broken because the menuing, you have to go into the menu a billion times in this game. It's a JRPG. You're constantly going in. But on the PS1, there's a load time that is asinine. On the Super Nintendo, it happens instantly. It's a cart. It just instantly goes. On the PS1 version, the load time makes you want to blow your brains out. It is the worst version of Chrono Trigger, and unfortunately, it's the one that I have. So it is literally a menuing thing that destroyed a perfect game, and that's the only example of a time that I can think of menuing ruining, 100% ruining a game.
Then I guess that's why it's not higher, is because I haven't run into that myself.
Sure. Well, Jace, let's round this topic off. I want to hear what yours is.
All right, like I said, 1 is gameplay. If I can't play a game, if it's not fun to me, if I'm running into walls when I'm hitting left, I'm trying to go forward. Bloodborne is a perfect example. Apparently, I'm the only person who had trouble with it, but to me, that's my gameplay and how I can handle it. I couldn't play it, not because it was hard, but because the mechanics would not. I could not get them to respond the way I tried to play, or I couldn't adjust to it. So the gameplay and me just did not match. I did not have fun. I could not continue. I tried it 2 times. It's 9 months apart. Couldn't do it.
Weird.
So number 2 for me is visuals. I've said before, like cell shaded stuff. I hate cell shaded. I can't
Really?
take it seriously.
Oh, come on.
There's a lot of JRPGs and stuff out there that the story is good. I'm like, I would love to experience the story, but I look at it and I hate when they make anime 3D, like 3D anime games. I can't stand them. I
So
look
like
at it.
the
I'm
Dragon
this
Ball
is
Z
not
like fighting
interesting to me.
games. Like
Sure, Dragon Ball Z is just not going to get me. Period. So.
I was gonna say that's the example you threw out there, Zach.
I know, right?
We're talking about Dragon Ball Z here.
well, we're
There's
going to
a
be
lot.
talking about anime in just a second. So
That's one of the reasons. I'm trying to think of a couple of them, but just a lot of the anime where they're straight. Well, see, have you guys ever looked at Danganronpa? Like played it or a screenshot or anything? It's anime. It's the visuals are anime,
yes.
but it's flat. It looks like a visual novel. Like everything in there is flat. And I'm like, I like that. It's fine. But then when they put the anime in a 3D space, it just I don't like the look of it. I can't stand it, so I don't want to play it.
So
what about for non-serious games like Borderlands?
Borderlands was fine because it looked like they made that game is actually beautiful, and I think they just took like when you take pictures and you put posterized like filter on them.
Sure.
That's all they did with that, and you can tell that if they took that little element out, that game would look phenomenal. And then they made it, and it's like, okay, this is like a live, live comic or whatever, but it's not. It's just adjusted to it. It's not my favorite looking game, but I think it looks fine, and it's fun enough to play.
What about Wind Waker? Because I know you're a Zelda fan.
I hate the look of it.
Oh.
That's one of the reasons I have never played that game.
I love that. I love that game so much.
I hate cell shaded. But yeah, so visuals are a big thing. Like not necessarily like high end graphics. I like high end graphics. You know who doesn't? But most of it is if I just don't like the look of the game, I'm not gonna want to play it. And then third is story, which may be higher than what you guys thought. It might be depending on how.
Me.
Like I was gonna say how I shit on story.
I know,
but
especially since I know you're a sound guy too.
Story is still important, but it's not as important. Those top 2, it doesn't touch those in my mind. But it's more important than sound. Like I said, it's really hard to point in. This is overall arching different things for different things. But most of it is a good story is better than good sound to me. And that's why it's kind of above it, even though the last 4 are almost all together. Like almost 3A, 3B, 3C, whatever. 4, I put sound design because like I was just said, footsteps, gun sounds, feet, like footsteps on cement, like even just in real life, I like those sounds. So when they can nail them in a game, I don't know, there's something about it, like rustling in grass, the sound of snow under feet, all that stuff is just, it's awesome to me.
Witness. Sound design of the Witness is pretty awesome.
Yeah, there's like, you can just hear stuff in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
You go and you look and you're like, oh, cool. I put music as 5 because like you pointed out, most of the time it's very underwhelming. And when people are like, I just listen to video game music all the time, like that, like on Spotify or something. I've tried that, but then Halo stuff will come up and people say Halo is awesome music. I'm like, is it?
It's good for the game, but
Uncharted has amazing music. I'm like, does it?
Right.
Like Final Fantasy and Mega Man those have made it into my like regular music rotation. I listen to those like I listen to Blink-182 or Taking Back Sunday or Kanye or something. Like it's music I will just listen to. because it's fantastic. But like if I go anything just listening to video games, it has to be different. So old Nintendo games and stuff, just because it's chiptune for the most part, it's very interesting to me because I feel like it's so easy to make. Like in theory, I'm sure it's not, but just the sound. I love chiptune, but there's not a lot of chiptune anymore. I mean, it's and then a lot of the indie games, but even then it's like, oh, this is cool, but it doesn't really stick with me. So it's pretty low. And then I'm with Tim on menu stuff. Is they may be bad, but I'm only in that menu for so long that I'm out and I'm playing the game. So menu to me is not that big of a deal. I can deal with a bad menu, even though I'm sitting there and every time I go in, I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, why I'm trying to navigate this, but it's not bad enough. I'm like, this isn't the game. This is a menu. And so I get out and I keep playing the game. So it is important, yes, but it's not a deal breaker to me at all. So, but yes, gameplay is king.
Gameplay is king. I think, like, obviously, when you really start looking at the end of the day at the best games that have ever been made, can we not just agree that they cover just all of the categories? That's what makes them. That's what makes them the greatest games ever made. When you really sit down and you start talking about what are the best games ever made, it's because all of these things hit.
Which we should.
So, I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, we can sit here and argue about what one's most important, but at the end of the day, to make another masterpiece, you have to hit on all levels. And I think you can be a masterpiece without hitting on all levels. I think that the hardest one to hit on is sound design, and original soundtrack, which is probably why we ranked them all low. And it's because it's really, really, really damn hard to get it so right in a game. It's so hard to get it right. Alyssa, our audiophile in the audience here, says, Frictional does a really awesome job at keeping your heart on the verge of stopping with sound effects. There is no way of determining if what you're hearing is your character just going crazy or if it's something you're about to encounter. That's like that's such a cool element to that game, and what I love is she's obsessed with playing horror games. So I get a lot of
I saw that.
I get a lot of my horror game knowledge from Alyssa because she just loves that.
Horror games, though, that is make or break it. Sound design.
On sound,
Oh, I completely agree, and that's why something like PT. I thought PT's sound design is just. I understand it's a demo. Not even people can't even get your hands on it anymore unless you originally had it. But my God, the sound design for that. The first time I played it, I was just absolutely terrified the entire time. I think sound had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at old horror games, too. Things like the Resident Evils. When you go into a room, and the first thing you hear is, ooh, and you're just like, oh, damn it. I know there's zombies in here, but I might not see them right now.
But it's Silent Hill.
Yeah, and Silent Hill is the exact same way.
These are great examples as to why those are so important in like those scary games, but why I still say gameplay is above. It could be scary, but if I'm playing tank controls, I can't play tank controls. I'm not going to have fun playing the game. I'm not going to like it if I cannot control the game.
So you have trouble playing any old horror game then?
I suck, but I would watch my brother play them and get my kicks through them that way. Interesting.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The death of tank controls is something that had to happen in video games because we evolved past tank controls. But if I look back on Onimusha, the first one for PlayStation 2, and it has tank controls, and that game is a horror game technically.
Is it? I really know nothing.
It ends up being a lot more fantasy, but it was supposed to be like Resident Evil with samurais.
Oh.
God, I love Onimusha.
And so, God damn, so do I. I love, especially the first one. The first one is perfect. It's one of my favorite action games like that, and it's tank controls, but it's so brilliant. It's just amazing.
It's good.
So, I don't know. We need to move on from this topic. This was such a great topic. Thank you for bringing it up, Jace. Magical Hamster had one last thing to say about this subject. She said, I think older games had to rely more on catchy melodies since they only had X number of sounds and notes to work with. Games past a certain era could use pretty much real instruments and go on the strength of that. I
That's a good
think
point.
that is such an amazing point, and I also
It's
feel
true.
like that's why things like Mega Man music, which, Jace, you know that I haven't even played all the Mega Man games necessarily, but when you hear a Mega Man tune come on, everybody knows what game it's coming from.
So
You may
good.
not even know what stage it's for. You don't have to necessarily like know a shit ton about Mega Man, but when a Mega Man song comes on,
They're
you better damn believe you know it's a Mega Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're so distinct.
Yeah. It doesn't get more distinctive than Mega Man tunes to
So
me.
good.
8-bit
Mega
Mega
who?
Man tunes. So.
I hate you.
I know you do.
All right, let's move on.
Well, let's move on. Thank you for that again. And chat was involved. Thank you guys for doing that. Just so you guys know, you can always feel free to cue questions in the chat. Ask us questions as we go on, especially if we're talking about a topic that you love. Thank you. Please, if you are liking what you see and you already are not following the channels, please click the follow here on the Gaming Hutch. And if you like what Jace is saying, you should go over and you should follow his channel too at Jace Plays Games here on Twitch. All right, well, let's keep going then. So the second topic that we want to talk about, I want to talk about anime today. And I don't know how much either of you actually watch anime. Now, I know that Tim, you're a huge fan of Miyazaki films, which is its own breed of anime. I mean, Miyazaki is something that can touch everybody. Jace, I have no idea what you feel about anime. I don't even know if we've ever really talked about it, and if we have, I don't really recall what we said.
We have not.
I am picky as hell when it comes to anime. I'm very picky. So I don't watch a ton of it, mainly because there's only so much time you can dedicate in the day to watching certain things. I don't watch a lot of TV. I play a lot of
24
games.
hours.
So, yeah, there's only 24 of them, and you have to be
Thanks
picky
there,
and choosy.
fact checker.
Well, every once in a while, I will look through anime and I'll try to find one that is going to spark my fancy. I'll watch a couple episodes. And here and there's one that just will find me and latch on right away. And this week, I started an anime yesterday. And I watched 22 episodes between yesterday and this show. I watched the whole first season.
20 minute?
They're 22 minutes an episode. I watched 22 episodes in about 30 hours.
What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm serious. I started it and I just couldn't stop. I also don't really know what you guys feel about. I love how this is wonderful because we were just talking about how much sound and music can matter. Because this whole, I should announce what the anime is. It's called Your Lie in April, and it's on it's on Netflix. And what it's about a little boy who is a piano prodigy. He was born to play the piano, and his mother was a pianist. And his mother ended up being very abusive to him growing up to make him a better piano player. Think of the movie Whiplash, where J.K. Simmons is like being an asshole to Miles Teller and to make him better. This mom does this to this little boy. But he becomes perfect, and everybody refers to him as the human metronome. And he wins all these competitions. Well, his mom gets sick, and she ends up dying. And he decides, fuck the piano, I'm never playing piano again. He quits. But then 2 years later, this girl walks into his life who plays violin, and she's breathtaking, and she convinces him to accompany her at a recital, which he ends up doing, and then it's a spiral of love and music, and you gotta understand, instead of like fight scenes in Dragon Ball Z, they have concert scenes where everybody is at the concert and you're listening to this pianist play this music, and it's just this amazing, gorgeous score and in the background, and it just is beautiful. But you're hearing what they're saying in their head and what they're thinking as they're going through their performance. And most of the story is told through this internal monologue, and it's almost written in open verse. So it's like you're listening to this poem this entire time. Now the dialogue is still normal. It's not. It doesn't get like super Japanese. It doesn't get with like the all like kawaii, like crazy, like fucking insane
Kawaii.
shit, you know.
Hawaii.
But
Why?
so it doesn't get overly cheesy that way. But it is definitely a melodrama. And essentially, the girl who ends up playing violin, sort of a spoiler, but she gets very sick.
Oh man,
Also.
not another one.
Yeah. So it goes down that hill of like, think of these teen drama movies like Fault in Your Stars and stuff like that, where it's like just fucking terribly sad the whole time. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely cried like at least 3 times during the series, and it was slightly embarrassing to be an adult male sitting in this room watching anime, crying to myself.
Series
But-
is in like the first season.
There's only one season. It's a self-contained story. It's 22 episodes and that's it. It's over. It tells you one beautiful story and then it's over. And so I guess I just wanted to talk about anime a little bit today. And talk about, have you guys had any experiences with anime that have touched you like this? Because I'm not going to lie.
Show me on the doll where it touched you.
Well, hold on. Let's use Ant-Man.
Oh man, way to go, Jace.
Let's use Ant-Man to...
Yeah, put his ass right in the camera. That's good. Yeah, right there. Right there.
And then you just tickle
That
it.
anime got me right in the butthole.
Yeah, you tickle it a little bit. I don't know. I'm looking to see if you guys have had any just experiences like this, because all types of media can really touch you to your soul. And the reason that this actually was so good for me was not because it's an anime per se. I've seen anime with better animation. I've seen other things with just as good of stories. But the music was just... I mean, the music sold it. And the music went with the story, which was perfectly voice acted. And it was just one of those times where you can't get enough of it. And I binge watched it. I mean, 30 hours, 22 episodes. And I can't describe it. I guess we've never talked about anime before. This is my most recent anime experience. Everybody needs to go out and see Your Lie in April. It's on Netflix. Give yourself, if you like classical music whatsoever, give yourself a chance to be surprised at a medium you're not used to watching if you are not normally an anime person.
How many episodes did you say?
It's 22 episodes.
22 episodes and they're 22 minutes apiece?
Yes. And I mean, it's
only 8 hours.
Yeah.
It just takes you 30 hours to watch that.
Well, because I mean,
Sitting.
I couldn't dedicate all of the time to it. I did watch it in large spurts, but like shit, I had like one 5-hour session with the thing at a time. You know, like
you can only cry for so long. Before
no,
before
it's a melodrama. It's a melodrama. They've talked about it on the IGN Anime podcast. I guess I'm plugging other channels' podcasts now, but IGN Anime Club over at IGN.com. Miranda Sanchez talked about this show before and how it's a show that she was not able to binge watch because it's so heavy. It just like rips at you. Every episode has something else that's going to like beat you down and like...
It sounds terrible.
No, it's wonderful actually because it's revealing. It's about art and it's about... It doesn't have to just be about music, but it's about passion and it's... I don't know, it's beautiful to me. Have you guys ever had an experience with like this with anime, or have you watched any anime?
I watched some. I really appreciate it because I used to draw a lot when I was younger, and so I like just like the different art styles, and it's just nice to see, especially like the anime from like the 80s, you know, where it's just all hand drawn and there's like no CGI at all, and I don't know, it's something to appreciate. But that being said, I've only kind of stuck to movies. I've very rarely, actually never, gone down the rabbit hole as far as watching an anime like show. Because I mean, this one sounds kind of rare. 22 episodes and it's done.
No, you'd be surprised at how many are like this. There's a
Really?
lot in anime where you have one and done, one season. They tell you a story and then it's over.
Then there's just too much out there for me. I mean, like I don't know. I've haven't even taken the time to be like, oh, which one should I watch, kind of thing. But
That's
maybe I
yeah.
will.
That's I mean, my biggest issue is the fact that I look for new series and I give it a couple episodes to get me hooked. And if it doesn't hook me, I just abandon it right away because, like you said, there's a lot. There's a lot out there.
A lot.
Huge.
What about you, Jace? I'm really interested to know what your history is with this.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Ooh, baby.
The most anime that I've been exposed to is what they would show on Adult Swim, and
Little
so-
Afro Samurai.
see, I not even like I
Spike
said, it's
TV.
very rare. I did have this stretch from I don't know back in 2007 or 2008, where there were a couple shows on there that like I'd make sure like, all right, I'm gonna stay up and I'm gonna watch this. I don't know what it was called. I don't really know what it was about. But I have found that there are ones out there, and I appreciate the medium. But kind of like Tim said, there's so much out there. I've got to assume that there's just a lot of garbage out there too, and I don't want to hit it. But I constantly do Google animes that resemble Danganronpa all the time. I want like the kids killing each other.
You need to
I
watch
want
Death Note.
violence.
You need Death Note.
But I don't want supernatural ghosts and demons and vampires.
Then maybe you don't want Death Note.
No, see, exactly. No, see, I have this
Jeez.
small base knowledge of it, and I know a lot of the big names in it, but I know what I don't like, and a lot of those. They do. It's it's Japan. They're very spiritual and ghosts and shit like that, and especially on like their scary one. I like these are like people doing fucked up people things. And those are I like the realistic anime ones, I guess you can call, because just like scary movies, I don't like scary movies because they're too fucking far out there. But if they're the believable scary movies like Saw, like those are real situation. It's far out there, but you're like, somebody could in theory do this.
Yeah.
So I like the Saw movies.
Yeah.
At least the early ones. I haven't seen like the last 3 of them, I think. But I do like scary, fucked up shit like that. But it has to be in a realistic fact, like Jason and all that stuff I don't like. And like you're describing the one that, sure, it sounds all happy and sad and emotional and stuff. I'm like, but I really don't want that. I do like the fact that it's self-contained and only 22 episodes, because that's another reason I never got into it. Is I'm like, I don't want to get into these ones where they're like, it's one of the best ones ever, but it has like 20 seasons or shit like that. I'm like, I don't want no part of that.
That's your Inuyasha, and that's your Naruto, and all of that crazy shit that is just like, how many iterations of this? How do I get into it?
Yeah, like
that's actually that's kind of the issue with anime. It's just like with comic books, is people don't understand where they can jump in.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do have there's a seed of interest because I like, story, and like I said, I don't like 3D anime and video games and stuff, but I do like the visual of it. Like I always get like when they do their fighting and there's just like blue with like marks across the screen because they're running in action. I'm like, oh, this shit does get you hyped. Like,
fuck yeah, it does.
It's very exciting. I like it. I like the fighting style that they do in it. I like the martial arts. I like, I like components of it, but very rarely does it seem like one of them has it all together where I'm like, I'm gonna watch this and enjoy it. I've even gone through and tried to do some like dubbed ones, like because they're like the real good ones are still in Japan and they're dubbed. And I tried that. I'm like, I don't want to fucking read a TV show. Like, it makes me mad.
Yep, some that I've loved are dubbed, but
you should check out Fist of the North Star. There you go.
Yeah, you'd probably love it, actually. Fist of the North Star is pretty cool.
It's awesome.
So we've had a lot of people talking about anime in our chat, which I really love. Magical Hamster brought up an anime called Chaos Head. I've not actually heard of that one. I've seen it on Netflix, I think.
If it's on Netflix.
Yeah, she says it gets into some weird existential stuff, borders on nonsense, but it's fascinating nonsense. See, that's kind of animes that I have trouble getting into, ones that I just can't follow a clear path on. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second after we do some of these. Alyssa said that the only anime she's seen is Spirited Away. Now, that's Miyazaki. You're talking about That's the most universally accepted of all animes, I feel, are Miyazaki-based films. Spirited Away, Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke,
And it's hard to
My Neighbor
give
Totoro.
people recommendations off that because those are kind of in the league of their own.
Yeah, like they're just so different than what you're gonna get anywhere else. Studio Ghibli is its own entity. They're their own beast. It's almost like they have their own brand of anime, and it's Ghibli brand. So it's hard to even really compare that to anything else. She then also went on to ask if I'd seen Full Metal Alchemist. I absolutely have, and
Which one?
Alchemist Brotherhood. They tell the
Oh.
same story, but from different perspectives.
Isn't one
Say-
shorter than the other?
Brotherhood is shorter.
I did. Those weren't ones that I seeked out during my little stint of watching anime on Adult Swim,
Mhm.
but those ones are definitely on around it, and I would watch those. But
It's cool.
I thought the robot having a little kid voice was creepy.
He's
Yes.
he's not a
Reason
robot.
for that.
He's a suit of armor that's literally just possessed by the spirit of a child that had his body ripped from him in an accident doing an alchemy spell that they shouldn't have been doing, because it's the Elric brothers and they're trying to resurrect their dead mother, and that's forbidden magic. You should never do that. And in doing so, that it actually, one of the brothers had an arm and a leg ripped off, which ends up he replaces that with like a mechanical arm and a mechanical leg. And then the other brother has his whole body torn from him, and his spirit is placed inside a suit of armor.
Here's my problem. Just let me throw it in there because I
Robot.
tried watching that a while ago.
He's not a robot, technically.
The filler, because there's a little bit of filler in there,
Of course,
isn't there?
there's so
Yeah.
much filler,
I
and
can't.
it's one of those shows that there's 37,000 seasons too. Like
Fuck. Yeah,
to
there
watch
it is.
to watch it all, it's just like,
Because the
My
second you
God.
get in a filler episode, you immediately know it. And it's like, here we go. So then
Pokemon did that.
totally.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure
and
they all
it's
did.
9,000.
That's the
Episode
problem
per
with
season.
most animes is once they get going, they get a fan base. They can just milk it and they just string it out.
Well,
That's
most
why-
of them are
that's
waiting
why-
on the mangas, so they kind of have to
That's also true. That's a good point, Tim.
fill the time.
Yeah, I want to bring up though that a lot of these animes we're talking about are some of the crazier ones. But the reason that I wanted to talk about, Your Lie in April, is because it's grounded as fuck. It's grounded. It's a real world story, and these are all of my favorite animes are the ones that are not insane. It's not the Full Metal Alchemist where people are doing magic. It's not the ninja ones, even Ninja Scroll, which is amazing. Akira, which is considered one of the greatest animes ever, but it's a sci-fi story. I love the ones that are grounded in reality that tell real stories. There's one called Clannad, which is yet again another one that will just make you cry the entire time. And then the last anime that I watched before this was an anime called Cross Game. And Cross Game is an anime about baseball. It's 55 contained episodes. That's the whole series. They run at 21 minutes apiece. And it's literally about baseball. Now there's also stuff about, the relationships of all the characters, and it's about them going through high school. So you meet them when they're freshmen, and you follow them through all 4 seasons that they go through in order to reach these championships that they're trying to do. And of course there's death, and there's family, and there's all this stuff, but it's based in reality. It's literally about baseball. Is at its core, it's about baseball.
So
And-
you're saying it's the anime version of Fever Pitch?
No,
No Fever Pitch.
no, because it's not really a comedy.
Bad News
Fever
Bears.
Pitch is Fever Pitch a comedy?
Wait, are you talking about the Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore?
Was that Fever Pitch?
Wasn't that called Fever Pitch?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think you're right.
Either way, what I'm saying is most of my favorite animes are not the ones that are out like insane. I get what
the one with
most people just feel like anime is something that has to be really weird. It has to be weird things. It has to be mechs. It has to be sci-fi. It has to be fantasy. It has to be all of that stuff. But in my opinion, if you want to introduce people to anime, give them a real fucking story. Give them a good story that you can have character and you can build on, and it's grounded. It's something closer to what you would actually see. like it's a real life story, but it's just animated. And this and the one I just talked about, Your Lie in April and Cross Game, are two of the most grounded, beautiful animes like I've ever seen, and they're just everybody should see them. And I
BT
think
dub. I just remembered this. The Danganronpa anime actually has an English version that
What
came
the
out.
fuck
like,
is
a couple months ago.
Danganronpa?
you
Do I
need
have
to look it
that
up. Yeah,
Alright.
he's talked about it enough. I'm surprised you haven't. Just
I was
looked
gonna
it
say
up.
it's gonna come up a couple times.
Yeah,
soon.
just go look up Danganronpa. It's a visual novel that is on PlayStation Vita. You can also find it on Steam, and you can find it on PlayStation 4
Also,
now.
did you see they're making a no? It's not on PS4
Not on
yet.
PS4 yet.
No, it's on
So-
Steam and it's on Vita and it's on PSP.
Visual novel, so it's not even a game?
It
is a game.
is.
But it's very story heavy. This is one where the
Think
story
Phoenix, think
trumps
Phoenix Wright.
everything. Yeah,
Phoenix Wright games.
Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright
meets
Attorney at Law.
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Got it. See it.
Okay.
Wow,
So it's
definitely high,
interesting. But
it's some pretty high scores on Steam there.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
yeah.
Alright,
Well,
I'll check it out.
we can move on from anime. I know you guys don't have nearly as much to say about it as I do.
Sorry, Zach.
It's okay. No, I'll talk about it more in the future. And you guys are just going to have to deal with the fact that I do love anime. I don't watch it nearly as much as other people. I don't have a deep-seated history in it, so I'm sorry if you're an anime absolutely just lover out there. Don't try to ask me questions, deep-seated questions in anime, because I can't answer. I'm fucking struggling.
Okay with that?
I'm like, oh, my body is reacting in terrible ways right now.
I'm like, are you all right?
He's slowly dying over there.
I
What the
know.
fuck do we do?
My
Oh,
God.
Gary.
My God. All right. Well, the show is already running long. Let's move on to our third topic here. Tim, you wanted
Well, this
to
will be
talk,
short.
you wanted to talk about an awesome announcement that happened this week at GDC.
No, this is not an awesome. Oh,
remember,
you're talking about.
it is. It may be to us, but he has.
You want to talk about the announcement that happened for PlayStation at GDC this year.
Yes.
Okay, I will. PlayStation VR announced October this year for $399. That's not bundled, so they're going to have a bundle because it needs the camera and the Move controllers. And I think the bundle's $500,
Yep.
$499. Yep.
which I think is
$499.
smart because a lot of people are they've already got the camera and PlayStation Move, so it's smart of them to not force the bundle on people who already have that stuff. But I mean, like they released, I don't know exactly what they had. They've already got like a list of games that are coming out. They're supposed to have 50 titles before the end of the year. I think it's I'm still kind of on the fence. Pessimistically, I think it's still kind of gimmicky, but this is like one of those things you just don't know until you try it. You know what I'm saying? We talked a little bit about this.
Yeah.
And when I say gimmicky, is like none of those games are blowing my socks off. Just like looking at them, like that is going to be not like 100-foot tall robot golf.
Eve Valkyrie is on the list. And
Adrift
people
comes
won't
out next week.
shut up about Eve Valkyrie.
It all looks awesome, but I mean, like VR in general, I haven't experienced it yet. So it's like one of those things where what we're talking about, it's kind of, I don't know how gimmicky it is until I actually give it a shot. Because you know what I'm saying, like. We've all gone to Dave & Buster's and put the VR headsets on. Okay, or not. Okay. Yeah, but it's like, this is okay. So, but I've heard everyone's tried it, so it's amazing. The thing I want to throw out there, and I'm a little nervous about, I can't find any specs on the PlayStation VR if it'll fit my head, because I have a huge head, you know? And it's not really something I've had to think about before, because it's so based on that thing fitting correctly on your face and like wrapping around your head. All right, my fitted hat size is 7 3/4.
Oh, that's not too weird. I've known people with that.
Right, but I'm saying like most stuff isn't geared for. This is outside the realm of one size fits most hat size.
They're
you know?
adjustable. The helmets have different.
Of course,
Oh, I know they do.
adjustable.
I'm just saying I don't know how far out they go.
I bet you they're gonna
you do not
freaking design
have
it to
that
make a
big of a-
watermelon head, dude. Like,
Okay, just start it out there.
Because you got to think they're making these helmets or headpieces. They're not just for bald, small head people. Women are going to use them. A lot of women have a lot of hair, so that's going to factor in. Men, a lot of men have long hair. Most of the time, I have long hair. I also have a very big head. My hats, I don't have an exact size, but I have to get the large, extra large hats.
Well, you guys are making me feel better. I guess I just want to bring it
Oh
up.
no, I think you're worried about a non-issue. Well, it's not a non-issue, but I wouldn't worry about it. You're gonna
I
be
think
fine.
it's just
I think
gained
it
a
is a
length.
non-issue. You're right,
I've never had to
Chase.
think about it before when it's come to video games. Like, you know,
Is my head size going
is my head
to?
too fucking big for this
Is my
goddamn
head
thing?
too fucking big?
Momentum's
Yeah.
a problem, okay? When I'm like
That's
looking around.
awesome.
If you think about some people and just how big their damn
Oh my
noggins
God,
are out
yeah.
there, I mean, you're talking. I mean,
Bunch of Charlie Browns.
yeah,
Oh, a lot of Charlie Browns.
they just have to. They're gonna have to make up
Like I
for
said,
that.
but they do adjust. So
Yeah.
Oh, I know
and
they adjust.
from what I hear, it's fairly easy to adjust them. It's very.
I've heard that as well.
I also heard people are saying it's the most comfortable of all the headsets, even though
Yeah,
it's
by far.
technically the heaviest. It's heavier than Oculus and it's heavier
But
than
it has
Vive.
this like big. I think in my head, there's like the back of it where it adjusts. It's like a big piece too, so it just counters the weight.
And
Yeah.
when you say heaviest, I still don't think it's that heavy.
Yeah,
You're talking about the PlayStation VR is 1.5 pounds and an Oculus is 1 pound.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
So I mean,
because a lot of people are worried, like, am I gonna have weight on my face?
yeah.
Like-
Right. And I'm letting you know, Zach, you're my tester here because I'm excited to get it, and I would spend the money, but I'm gonna wait until you get it.
I can't wait.
So I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna have it day one. I'm gonna pre-order. The
Did you
pre-order
see the
you can
bullshit,
start pre-orders on Tuesday for the big pack, the $500 pack. I'm gonna pre-order that one.
They don't have a listing for the regular one yet.
I know, which is weird.
Really?
You cannot
Yeah.
pre-order the $400 version yet, but starting on Tuesday, you can pre-order the full big version.
I'm going to pre-order it because Best Buy doesn't require you to put anything down for it, and they don't charge you until that charges the purchase. So I'm going to pre-order it and then just hold it until they offer one without the bundle in it. And if not, I guess I'm getting the bundle.
You already got all the shit, Jace?
I have a camera. I don't have the Move controllers, and I'm on the fence of like stopping by GameStop.
You can get them used for like
Does the
$14.
$500 one come with 2 Move controllers?
Yes.
Okay.
2 moves, 1 camera.
So without a doubt, I'm buying the $500 one. I don't even care. I have the money for it now. It's already set aside.
I will have the money for it by the time.
I'm not. I'm gonna walk in on Tuesday. I'm gonna put $100 down, and I'm just going to be like, okay, I'm ready for October. I have the money for it right. I have the money for it right now, but I'll have it in my house day one. I guarantee.
Even if I didn't have the money for it, I would still pre-order it and charge for it. It's that important to me.
It will be that important.
So fucking ready.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm just a little pessimistic about it.
Well, Tim,
Nah.
this year.
A fun thing about it. Sorry, I'm gonna say one last thing. VR, I think I know a lot of these things that are gonna be on it are gonna be goddamn walking simulators.
Yeah.
But I think being actually in the space and being able to explore by moving my fucking head, like Adrift is coming out.
Adrift looks really cool.
Adam Orth loves walking simulators. That dude will not shut up on Twitter about walking simulators. He loved like Firewatch, and I'm like, dude, shut up,
bro.
But
Adrift has just the mechanic of that you're in space, and it's going to be like Gravity, the movie video game.
Being in space,
terrifying. That's going to be fucking terrifying.
That's a setting.
Space is scary in general.
It's not a mechanic though.
Oh, but let's
it is anti-gravity.
The cinematic mode, that alone might be worth it to buy.
Cinematic mode is cool.
Yeah,
it's
really
so
cool.
I
don't know what the ratio is, but like,
and the fact that you can play any game in it.
Every game is compatible on PlayStation VR, guys. Every game.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
They can use that line now. Every game is compatible.
I just want
to
use
VR.
it. Like I haven't even used it, and I'm like one of the most giddy people about it.
Oh,
like,
trust me, I'm the same way. I haven't used it either, and I'm just like I'm out of my mind excited. Well, so Tim, you're not getting it, huh? I mean, I understand.
Not day one, dude. I've got the money for it.
He's getting it.
I'll get it if I'm from people I know who are like, dude, you have to get this. And which will be you
Dude,
two.
you have to get it.
Well,
I'm going to wait.
well, Tim, I guess you can try it out this year. I should convince you and my sister to come visit me in Austin since they're not gonna go see all of our family back in Iowa. I'll pull out some some like personal stuff. My sister's not coming to see the rest of her family this year because she hates everyone.
Yeah.
She's coming now, I think.
Whoa, is she again? She's gonna flip flop like that?
A little flip-flopping.
An old John Kerry.
When you say she's coming, that means Tim is saying he's not coming.
I probably
I get to see Tim once a year, and the dude's saying right now live on HutchCast Live that he's not gonna come see me. Thanks, brother.
Someone's got to make money over
Thanks,
here.
brother. Someone has to make money.
That's right.
Oh, well, whatever. All right, guys. Well, that was
So much for that concern. So have we settled your concern at least
About
for
the
the
head
time
size?
being?
I hope so.
About head size.
Because I'm excited about this.
I was really worried about what your concern was.
I know,
This is
and
a
like
big
that's it.
concern,
And it's
right?
just like, no, that's not.
Giant ass don't.
No, dude,
Oh,
you'll
dude,
be,
I lived the
you'll be
life of
gravy.
a big head also. So
Hey, little bites. Little bites. You guys watch Rick and Morty? No?
No,
yes, but
sorry.
if it's on the new season, I haven't seen new season. I've seen
Come on, Jace, get with
I don't
it.
have cable, bro, and it's not on Netflix yet. Or
It's on, go to adultswim.com. They got 5 of the episodes up.
oh yeah, I can sign into my parents' satellite.
Little bites.
Nice, I might do that.
all of
Thanks.
those, all of the
Winks.
things.
Okay.
Well, does anybody have anything left to say about PlayStation VR? I'm pumped. I'm already sold. I'm ready to buy
Pump
it.
juiced.
I'm juiced. I have nothing else to
Juiced.
say. One thing we should point out: No Man's Sky. We talked about it.
It will be.
It will be. I'm guessing it will be in the future too. But like I said, everything pointed to it not being a release date thing. It's going to come in the future. So
It'll be there at launch, guaranteed.
it's sad.
Nobody
It's
thinks
sad
so?
that it's not there.
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool.
I don't.
They're gonna release it in June, and they're gonna get a lot of people playing it. And Sony is gonna say, "Hey, 5-man group of people building a video game. Here's our fucking studio. We're making this VR. Thanks, guys.
You-
Thumbs up."
Maybe.
It's coming
I just don't. I don't know. I
1%.
think I don't. I'm gonna disagree
That'd be cool.
and say don't get me wrong. It's what I want. That's the game I want in
Dude,
VR.
it's happened. I don't know. Whatever.
If there's one game in VR I want, it's that. I don't
well,
think we're
you're
gonna.
getting it. So
I don't
get it
think we'll get it this year. I think we'll get it summer of 2017.
summer. Jesus Christ.
Summer.
No.
It'll be almost a full year after the release of the original game that it finally gets to VR.
You know what? I could see that from a marketing standpoint, but I refuse to believe it.
I don't. Yeah, that's fine. Believe it or not, that's just where I feel it's going. So, well, that's my little bit on VR. Anybody else? Last comments?
Nope.
Let's go.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we're starting a new segment this week. So every week, I wanted to start creating a little bit more segments.
We need
And
more.
This is one that I thought about. It's going to be a little bit of it'll be a little segment that we can use to talk about nostalgia, which is obviously everybody's favorite thing anymore. Everything we get in the media is based on nostalgia anymore. So we might as well talk about some of our favorite things from the past. So what this new segment's going to be called is Off the Hutch. And what it is every week, me, Jace, Tim, Tyler, anybody who's visiting the show, will pull something out of their past and we'll talk about it. Whether or not you guys played it, saw it, be it a game, movie, TV show, comic, experience, story. If you have a good story you want to talk about, pull it off the hutch. Let's talk about it. It'll be the reason for us to just talk about anything we want to every single week. Pull it off the hutch. So the first week of Off the Hutch, I want to talk about a video game because that's mainly what we talk about here. I'm going to talk about a video game for PlayStation 1. Absolutely one of my favorite games ever.
Parappa the Rapper.
Nope,
Spyro.
not quite. I love the fact that you guys are guessing. But the big reason why I wanted to use this is the first game was we talked about genre last week and how genres are starting to bleed. And this is the first game that proved to me that multiple genres working perfectly
Crash Team
in
Racing.
sync can be something that is gold. Tales of Destiny for PlayStation 1.
You had a price sticker on that, and you need to clean it.
I bought this game on eBay because
Is the
that's
name
the
on
only
there Mark
place.
Keller?
Its name is Mark Keller. Thank you for selling me your childhood possession, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
You are also an asshole for writing your name on there. You piece of shit.
Like new condition.
No. Oh yeah, right.
That's a great case.
No, not only that, the motherfucker wrote his name on the manual too.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like
I was
what
gonna say, if it's on that case, you could just buy a new game, pop it open, and switch it.
Yeah.
But
So it's pretty embarrassing that this guy's
Dickhead.
such a piece of shit that he wrote his name.
let's
all over
tweet
it.
him.
We should tweet him. I've never
Yeah,
tried to
Mark
look him
Keller.
up. I'm not really
But
that worried
continue
about
while I look him up.
it. Anyway, I want to talk about Tales of Destiny because
Wink.
I love JRPGs. I started playing them really on Nintendo. The first JRPGs that I played were Dragon Warrior, the original one, and Final Fantasy, and I was able to play through them when I was small.
When I was small.
I just loved them. I mean, I still think about some of these old JRPGs, and it's the reason why I love games now, which is why story has to be number one. But when you jump into the PS1 era, that's when I feel like I didn't really understand that video games were going to mean so much to me until I played PlayStation 1. Nintendo was fun, but PS1 really opened my eyes to what games could be. And it was because of JRPGs. It was because of Final Fantasy VII, and it was because of finding gems like Tales of Destiny, which melds the gameplay. This is the second Tales game. Now, the first Tales game is called Tales of Phantasia, and it came out on Super Famicom. It was never ported to America. So none of us ever saw that game. The first Tales game to come stateside is Tales of Destiny. And what's amazing about it is it still has all those old JRPG mechanics, but the fighting system is super brilliant. It essentially, you get into a random battle, it does the swirl, and then what it does, it goes to the battle screen, but the battle screen puts you in a Street Fighter-like setting, and your battles it's like a fighting game, where when you press circle, you do an attack. If you press up circle, you do an upward slash. Down circle does a stab. You have your skills set to X. So when you do standing X, you can do one skill. Left or right X will do something else. Up X, you guys get the point. What it did is you get four people that are actually on your team, and all of them, but you're fighting in a fighting game style. It's all live. The battles are in real time. It's not turn-based whatsoever. And it's on a 2D plane. So it's not 3D whatsoever. So like the battle system is just, it blew my mind because I was playing a JRPG, but then I felt like I was playing Street Fighter during the battle system. It was amazing. The melding of genres that was happening all the way back on PlayStation 1. It just blew my mind. And also the game was very, very, very long. I believe the first time I played it, I think it took me 80 hours to play. And that was probably because, it's 1998 and I can't read very well. Or I can read, obviously. I can read very well.
By 1998.
Yeah.
You're like 12 years old.
I mean, you're 12, but at the same time, when you're talking about competency in literature, you guys know what I mean. Like, you don't read as fast when you're 12.
You weren't Atlas Shrugged.
No, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not, I'm not reading Les Mis when I'm 12 years old.
Hopefully never.
So, but these games, they made me want to. I've said it time and time again. JRPGs actually made me better at reading because I wanted to know everything that was going on. So I needed to read better so that I could play these games and understand them to the levels that I wanted to understand them.
On the next levels.
Yeah. So it was incredibly important to me when it came to those things. Tales of Destiny is a brilliant game. The gameplay mechanics are perfect. The biggest rip that I have on the game is that there's too many random encounters. The encounter rate is really, really high. So that the reason the game is super long is not because it's actually that much content. It's because just to slog through the game is really hard.
That's kind of frustrating.
It's old school where you're going to have a lot of encounters. So you just got to be ready for that. But the story is amazing. It has human characters, but there's also characters called Swordians, which are humans that put their souls inside weapons during this like war that happened in the past. So it's really fucking cool.
Swordians?
Yeah, like so you have these humans that live inside the swords that you're using essentially, and that's what allows you to use magic and stuff. It's just a
Don't ask
brilliant.
me where I've been.
It's a brilliant story. It's a brilliant game. I can't recommend it enough. It's a really hard game to get your hands on because you can't find it on any of the PSN networks. You can't find it anywhere. So to actually find it and play it is difficult. But if you can in any way find this game, get your hands on it, play it. It's a really, really important game when it comes to crossing genres early, when people weren't doing things as drastic as what Konami did for this game.
Oh, Konami did that.
Well, it's actually no. I'm sorry. I said Konami. It's a Namco game. I'm wrong. It's a Namco.
Ooh.
But
it's not Square and it's not Konami. It's gonna be Namco.
So I don't know.
Damn,
I look back on it. That's pulling it off the hutch this week is Tales of Destiny. One of my absolutely favorite games. If you can't play the game, go look it up. Read a plot synopsis or something because it will blow your mind. It's that good. It's incredible.
I think Jace found him on Twitter.
Tales of Destiny?
No, that guy, Mark Keller.
Oh, Lordy Christ.
Did you find him, Jace?
There's no way it's ever going to be the same guy.
At the real Mark Keller.
At the real.
It's got to be the real one.
Yeah, he's verified Twitter account.
Is listed at $72 on PriceCharting.com.
Holy shit.
Tales of Destiny 2 is listed at $99 on PriceCharting.com.
Tales of Destiny 2 is not the real Tales of Destiny 2 in America either.
Whoa.
The real one that is the direct sequel came out in Japan, but they did not port it. The Tales of Destiny 2 that we got here is a completely different game. Has a different title in Japan.
Kind of like Mario?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's touch in on the chat a little bit as we've been talking about PlayStation 1. Magical Hamster said she never really got all the way through Tales of Destiny for some reason. Beautiful game. That's probably because it's a slog. There's a lot of
slog.
Yeah, it's trudging through mud, man. In order to get through that game, there's so much fighting. It's long for the sake of being long, but the story is there. It's just a lot of it's the battle system and the way it works.
Which aren't too bad, but did you say anything about like when you do the swirl, it kind of does the flyby by your characters? Man, it takes forever.
It does. When you're talking about 18 seconds between getting into a battle to actually starting the battle, and then once the battle happens, you're talking 15 to 25 seconds to exit a battle. So every battle you're talking about a minute going of your time just to get through the load in and out of the screen. So like the game is a slog. It really is.
Ooh, hot mama.
Most of it is spent in battle. Alyssa says until last year, the only video games she had ever played were the original Mario, Crash Bandicoots, and Croc. I'm so sorry, Alyssa. I know
Spyro.
And Spyro. I know that you played a lot better of games since then. So, oh fuck yeah! What a good question, Josh. My dad updated me on the UNI game. Thank you, Dad. UNI leading 32-22 at halftime. Jace, thank you. RIP Iowa. Iowa got their fucking ass handed by Villanueva today.
Villanueva.
No, why did I say Villanueva? That's that guy. That's the player.
That's the basketball player.
Villanova.
Connecticut.
Villanova beat the shit out of the U of I today. But go UNI, go Iowa State. Iowa State won their game. They are now in the Sweet 16. Go UNI. Amazing end of the game to that game. My
Kansas
God.
won.
My dad said, are you ever going to review the 1972 Magnavox Odyssey? Dad, you know we weren't cool enough to have one of those. I think you're making shit up too because it didn't come out in 1972. That's too early. The Odyssey came out in the 80s. And then Alyssa said Josh asked if you ever played Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo. Are you fucking kidding me? Did I play Super Mario RPG? Hell yeah, I played that game. I absolutely love that game. It is so good. It's actually my favorite Mario game.
It's one of these.
Jace has it. I don't own it. I know Magical Hamster owns it. I played it with her growing up. That's the person that I played that game with. Fuck yeah, we played the shit out of Super Mario RPG. That's some of my best memories growing up are playing Super Mario RPG with Magical Hamster in her room. Like,
quick, how many times did you just say Super Mario RPG?
I think if you counted them up, 8 or 9. Around there. Super Mario RPG 10.
Nice fact checker.
Yes!
Way to go.
Boom.
All right. Well, I think that's enough to do with RPGs. I think we really pulled that one off the hutch and broke it down. Thank you guys for letting me talk about Tales of Destiny. It doesn't always have to be about video games, though. Like I said, in the future, pulling it off the hutch can mean anything. Sometimes we're going to talk about movies. Sometimes we'll talk about our favorite shows. Maybe it's a comic series that you think people should know. You should read. If you have an idea of what we should talk about on Off the Hutch, send me a tweet at the Gaming Hutch on Twitter. You guys can send me ideas of what we can talk about on Off the Hutch, and maybe it's something that will trigger a memory from one of us.
Cool
beans. So tell me some of your memories, and we'll talk about it on Off the Hutch.
Are we on closing statements?
Yeah, man. I think we're about to wind down.
Time for the countdown.
You got something
No,
you
I have
want
a
to talk
closing
about?
statement. I
Go
want
for it.
chat and everyone around the world to
All of
clap
them.
their hands and say, congratulations, Zach and Tim. They hit 30 in the division.
Oh, yeah.
I spy on them as they play.
And I'm
I
never
really don't
playing
know
it again.
I spy on everybody playing that game.
That's
on my
good.
friends list. I just watch them. I almost started up my Twitch for the first time in a week.
Yeah.
And I was just going to have my map open, and one of my friends, I was just going to follow his circle on my Twitch stream and just see where he goes and what he does.
If you haven't streamed tonight, Jace, maybe I don't know if Tim is able to play. Probably not. You have to get up early. I was thinking about playing.
Okay, thanks.
Well,
Zach.
what you do, don't
Write me
you?
out.
Aren't you getting up at like 5?
Right.
Yeah, I'm getting up at 5.
So I was right.
I remember those days.
Sucks, man.
Because I was gonna say, I was like, Tim, you could play, but guess what? I already know that
What would
you
we
can.
do? Go through the dark zone?
Yeah, we'll play Dark Zone.
And then
Dude,
do what?
run missions on
Well-
hard. Get
well,
that trophy.
Or we could do a challenge and get a guaranteed orange.
Those things are so fucking hard.
We
tried
did
one-
we
we did
did
one
one
yesterday.
we did
That
one
was good.
yesterday,
Did you?
and it
Okay.
was a slog. It took us 45 minutes to an hour, but we did it really slow.
I will say the people that I attempted it with, one of them was a random. One of them, the guy didn't have a mic, and I don't know what his motivation in playing was, but it was not to succeed because it was the one in the assembly or whatever, and it has the metal detectors at the first. The motherfucker kept running through the metal detector. I'm like, let me turn it off first. And he just
Well,
run through.
you were playing with the wrong people then, because we played with
Can't play
a
with
full
randos.
party. It was
'Cause,
me and Tim
No.
and DJ and was it Gandhi
Derek.
or it was Derek?
Derek.
And
Oh,
it
yeah.
was us four. We took it slow and we plowed through it, man. You
I
got to approach it the right
definitely
way.
Yeah, I definitely was like, well, this isn't happening until I know I have a party of people that I trust and like know are fucking trying. Because I was pissed. Because I was like, I want to get this one knocked out.
Well, I would be willing to do a challenge in that. And I haven't been able to stream for almost an entire month of video games because of a fight I've been having with my internet company. The only thing I've been able to stream is HutchCast Live. It's made me really angry. I know I haven't updated people on it. I should have done a better of updating people, but the reason I haven't been able to stream gameplay is because of my internet company. They're being assholes. So
Oh.
Maybe Google Fiber will finally just get to my house. If I lived a mile further south, I would have Google Fiber.
Make that move. It's worth it.
It's such bullshit. I'm literally
Make
a
the
mile
move.
out of the zone.
Make the move.
But I'm going to wind down the show. I thought this has been a really good one. Thank you guys for entertaining me talking about anime. This has been HutchCast Live, Episode 9. I'm your host, Zach, a.k.a. The Gaming Hutch. Joining me this week was Tim, Sneaky P Hayes,
Nice.
and
There
Jace.
we go.
Jace, the Ayatollah of the Control of Aldridge.
That's right.
You can find me online. I'm at The Gaming Hutch pretty much everywhere. You can find me on Twitter at The Gaming Hutch, Instagram. Obviously, you're here on Twitch. Tim is a recluse and doesn't let you find him on the internet.
Nothing.
So
Right.
the only place you can maybe find him is on
He's
PlayStation
very
Network.
sneaky.
Yeah.
See what I did?
Wow.
Yeah.
Way to save the best stuff for the end of the episode,
You
guys.
did. Comedy. We're a comedy show. Tim, you go find him on PlayStation Network, Sneaky Protestant. Add him as a friend and be a creeper. Jace, we can find you online where?
Jace plays games on Twitter, and I guess you could say on Twitch, but who knows? That thing's been dead for a while.
I know. I haven't been able to Twitch either. Because, like I said, it's been very, very fucking frustrating. Jace hasn't been able to stream because you have a job.
No, that's not really why.
Oh, that's a huge reason why. You would stream in the middle of the day all the time. You did it all the time where you would just
I got
randomly
just
go
as
live
many
at
viewers as I would playing in the evening. When
Yeah.
people told me to, you play too early.
Right.
Play later. I play later. Oh, well, I wasn't able to
Exactly.
make it. I'm like,
Exactly.
I eat shit.
Well, this has been HutchCast Live. You can find the show here on The Gaming Hutch, www.twitch.tv/TheGamingHutch. Go find replays of the show over on YouTube. I'm going to start pushing the YouTube channel more. I put highlights of my video games when I actually play. Someday I'll get us on SoundCloud, which will then get us on iTunes, because getting on iTunes is not nearly as simple as they try to say. But go find me on YouTube and subscribe. I do not have very many subscribers now. Go find me at The Gaming Hutch. You can find all of HutchCast Live's episodes over there.
An iTunes update that was? Holy shit.
Yeah, iTunes. It's actually a pain in the ass to get your thing on there because I don't want to get into it. It's not fun.
All right.
So that has been us. This has been episode 9 of HutchCast Live. Thank you guys for joining me.
Bye.
Peace out!